Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Potter Than Hell podcast. This is your last stop on the crazy train of hard rock and heavy metal. So sit back, buckle in, and hang on. Here we go.
Hello everybody, here we are back at the Potter Than Hell podcast for episode number 1, our first official episode. I'm your host here, Steve Wright, and I'm here with my co-host once again, BC.
In the house.
BC in the house, just like body count. BC's in the house. Alright, here we are, episode number 1. Like I said, the official first episode. We did episode 0 last time, just to introduce you to us and what we were about and what you could expect from us. If you didn't check that out, go back and check it out. You can find us on iTunes, you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on YouTube and Twitter. Just look for Potter Than Hell, Podder than Hell. Kind of like Kiss, Hotter Than Hell, but we are Potter, not hotter. All right, we're going to start off this week with a little bit of news coming out of California. Anybody that is familiar with what they call a parody band called Steel Panther. BC, you're familiar with Steel Panther, right? What do you think?
Musically, I like them. I mean, I like some of their songs. I mean, some people don't have a good hook to them, but like the first time we saw them in M3, I think half the crowd walked out because nobody knew who they were at the time, except for us.
You know, Michael Starr's there singing Fat Girl to some, larger girl in the audience, singing Fat Girl right to her, and she's pissed off. Fuck you, flipping him off, walking out. What I'm getting at is Steel Panther is in the news this week. Michael Starr, the lead singer, is apparently at Knott's Berry Farm for a day of amusement rides and stuff, and some dude gets off of a ride and he shit rolls and falls and apparently rips his leg open and he's spurting blood all over the place. I guess cut an artery or something like that, and kind of a sad commentary on the way people are anymore. People were just walking by this guy, dude's like spurting blood out, and
I'm not going to get involved.
Yeah, I'm not going to get involved. Maybe I'll get sued if this guy dies or something. Well, if you don't do something, the guy's going to die anyway. So Michael Starr shows up on the scene there, and he takes off one of his bandanas, which, surprise, he stops the guy's bleeding. As he's there waiting for the paramedics to come, or their medical staff that's at the park. Apparently the guy had said, this sucks because we were going to go to Disneyland instead. And then, once all was said and done and the paramedics and that came, Michael Starr apparently said to the guy, hey, I bet you wish you went to Disney now, right? So you got to give it up to anybody that pitches in to help. It's sad that people are afraid to help anybody anymore. It's just, it's ridiculous. And like I said, it's a sad commentary on kind of what's out there in the world today. And you got to give it up, give props to anybody that's out there willing to help someone. What do you think, BC?
I like Michael Starr. I think he's a good guy, and there he goes. He did a good thing. Stepped up to the plate.
Absolutely. We'll do a cheers to you. We'll do a shot in your honor, and
hopefully this will make the next album. So.
It's true. Maybe it'll be like shit rolling at the amusement park or something like that. Well, some kind of crazy song like that, like they've been known to do. Some people don't like them. Some people think they're rather crude, and some of their songs are, but it's all in good fun.
They're doing nothing different than Weird Al Yankovic did back in the 80s.
Yeah, but
a little more racier, I guess.
Yeah, and he's still doing, and actually Weird Al's still doing it now. I think he's just got done with a tour, or he's touring now or something like that. But us as guys that listen to that kind of music, and my wife can attest to this, even before Steel Panther came out, we were changing lyrics to songs, to dirty stuff and funny shit, like for decades. I remember when we were kids, me and my buddy Steve Levine, we rewrote like a bunch of Kiss songs with like dirty lyrics, and we were like in probably 6th or 7th grade. And I remember the one song for Dr. Love, it was Dr. Fuck, and we wrote all these lyrics down and we shoved them under the carpet in his bedroom, and his dad found them and he got all pissed off and he was like, what the hell is this? We've been Steel Panthering before Steel Panther was Steel Panthering.
So here it is years later, they're making the money and you're not.
I am not. That's true. I'm just here talking about it, and they're out there actually playing this shit. Which, hey, once again, kudos to them. Another item in the news, anybody that's familiar with the artist Tony Martin, who was one of the several lead singers in Black Sabbath. He actually did, I think, 5 or 6 albums with them, which I personally think are great. Forbidden was one of them. Cross Purposes was like unbelievable. There's a song on there called The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Check that song out. It is just like kick ass. It is great. And he has, I think, 2 solo albums out since he's left Sabbath, and that was in the 90s, I think, because we actually saw Sabbath with Tony Martin down at Harvey's Lake.
Harvey's Lake, thank you.
With Motorhead and Kix. We didn't get to see Kix that day because it rained like the hammers of hell that day and Kix was canceled. But we did get to see Lemmy and the boys. And
they were canceled because they had a curfew at the lake.
Yeah, it was a venue at a campground, and, all these lake people, they need to be tucked into bed by 11 o'clock at night, and they don't want to hear that loud metal shit going on. That was the first Sabbath that I saw, and as far as Sabbath goes, the first Sabbath that I was exposed to was with Ronnie James Dio. First Black Sabbath album I ever had was Heaven and Hell. I remember I bought that on Christmas Eve. I think it was 1980, Christmas Eve, and I listened to that in my bedroom on Christmas Eve, and I'm like, wow, this guy's like kick ass. You didn't have the internet where you could, punch in Black Sabbath and you see, their original singer was Ozzy Osbourne, and I wasn't really in the magazines too much at the time either, where you kind of had any information about them. But that was my first exposure to them. And then Tony Martin came in after, Ian Gillan came in after Ronnie James Dio for one album, which Born Again, which is, it's good, but it's produced terrible. Terrible. Which Martin Birch, I believe, produced that album, who produced Iron Maiden, all their great, in quotations, classic albums. That Black Sabbath album sounds like it was recorded in a phone booth or something. It sounds terrible. I mean, but there's some good songs on there, but it doesn't really come out because the production is so terrible on it. And anyway, Tony Martin comes in after him, and Headless Cross, I think, was the first album with them. That or the TYR, and then they had 5 or 6 with him. And then Dio came back and they did Dehumanizer. And then Tony Martin came back after that. The typical Black Sabbath revolving door of singers and bass players and drummers. Tony Iommi is pretty much Black Sabbath. Everyone else was either in or out and back and forth. Anyway, Tony's recording a new album with Venom's guitar player, which I don't know the guy's name. I'm not a Venom fan. I'm not much of a death metal guy.
That's an odd combination if you ask me, but
yeah, absolutely. But Tony's other solo stuff wasn't metal. It was like a hard rock type stuff, but apparently this stuff is supposed to be pretty heavy. And he was interviewed this week and said that Tony Iommi was going to do something with him. So that'll definitely be interesting to hear that. So Tony Martin's got something new coming out. Check him out. Check out his solo stuff. Like we mentioned in our other episode, that we are purchasers of music. We like to have the CD in our hand, if possible. Not much of a downloader. I will download stuff if I have to. CDs, I want them in my hand. Support the bands you like. Go out there, buy the CD. Give new music a chance. Don't just go to a show because you want to hear, I love Rock and Roll Night and Beth. You know what? Those are the 2 songs that when I hear, I go take a piss because I think they suck. Well, I think Beth sucks, but Rock and Roll Night, you just get sick of hearing the same shit all the time.
Play it over and over and over.
You can only take so much of that stuff. Speaking of Kiss and Beth, their original drummer, Peter Criss, announced he's already had his last performance. And he says, and it's in quotations, his last solo performance. So I don't know if he's still having delusions of grandeur that he's going to, play with Kiss again or something like that, which I don't see that happening.
Never.
But he did a show in Los Angeles in the wintertime. Then he played a show, I don't know if he did Los Angeles or Australia first or second, but he played Australia, he played Los Angeles, and then he just played New York this past Friday. I'm going to run through the set list, BC, and also I'm going to say the band that backed him up is a band from Australia, and they're called the Sister Dolls. Very good young band. But if you watch any of the videos, I don't know if the Sister Dolls are just the guitar, bass, and drums. There's a big horn section in the back because some of the the Peter Criss solo songs get kind of big bandish type of music. They got guys playing horns and shit in the background. So I don't know if they're actually in the Sister Dolls or if they're just extra musicians that are there. Peter Criss plays drums on some of the songs, and he gets out in the front of the crowd and he sings some of the songs. So here's the set list. And I have to say, no offense to any Peter Criss fans out there, Peter was always my least favorite guy in Kiss. Sorry, Peter. I mean, love you. Early stuff, kick ass. You were my least favorite guy. Even though I still love you, you never really did it for me.
I have to agree with Steve on that. Our last episode, when I mentioned how I got into music, back then Kiss was the most popular thing. There was Kiss Everything, and like you could get each individual member's posters and that. And I never bought anything Peter Criss.
No, me either. It really doesn't have anything to do with it, but like green's not my favorite color either. You know, when they did the solo albums, they gave each guy a color. You know, Paul had purple, which that's my wife's favorite color, so she's more or less a Paul Stanley guy, as I am too. Ace has got the blue, Gene has got the red, and Peter's got the green. I mean, not that has anything to do with anything, but
color does attract you.
It doesn't help. Yeah. You know, and I remember when the solo albums come out. You know, I was just a kid in 1978, so I was 10 years old. I was born in 1968, and I remember the solo albums coming out, and I'm like, all right, I got to get Paul Stanley's album first. You're a 10-year-old kid, so even if your parents are buying your shit for you, most parents aren't going to go in the store and buy you 4 albums at once, and you're going to take them home. For me, I bought them in the order of I bought Paul, then I bought Ace, and then I bought Gene, and then I bought Peter. Paul's was like, wow, like the most Kiss-like songs on there, except for Hold Me, Touch Me. That song, it makes me want to run out into fucking traffic when I hear that song. That song sounds like belongs on Peter's album. Ace's album, like, wow.
Like Steve, my first was Ace, then Paul, then Gene, and I broke down and bought Peter's, which I think I put in the spoke of my bicycle. And
yeah, well, just you have to complete the set. You know, you
got to complete.
You know, the set, they're like the Pokemon. You have to catch them all. You know, you got to have them all. Peter just like it was like not music that we were used to listening to. It was 50s. You know, the shit your parents listened to. You know,
granted, he is the oldest member of Kiss.
He is.
Maybe his influences are a little bit different than the rest of Kiss.
Yeah, I mean, Paul and Gene, you know, they were Beatles and Led Zeppelin influenced, and Peter was more, you know, he says big band, swing, jazz type things. Claims he played in a jazz band here or there, but I don't think that's ever been proven by anybody.
Nothing against jazz.
No, hey, you know, you like what you like, but jazz really doesn't have a place in the Kiss world as far as I'm concerned. God love you, Peter. You're like 70 years old, still, you know, out there doing shit. I got to give that up to you. I did watch some of the videos that some guys posted. Joe Polo from Podcast Rock City, he posted pretty much every song that he did. I mean, the band sounded good. Peter's, I mean, I always thought Peter had a good voice, though. The songs that he did sing in Kiss were, you know, with the exception of Beth, because I'm just totally anti-Beth. Nothing to Lose, Hooligan, you know, shit like that. Like Black Diamond, like, that's like one of the iconic Kiss songs. You know, Paul sings the little intro, and Peter does the main vocals in that song. I don't think you'll see a Kiss concert without them playing that song. That's like them not. If they didn't play that, that'd be like them not playing like Detroit Rock City. What I'm going to do here now is I'm going to go through the set list, and then we'll have a little discussion on it here, okay? I Can't Stop the Rain, he opens up with. Hooked on Rock and Roll, 2 songs in a row from this solo album. Strange Ways from Hotter Than Hell. Strutter, which is kind of an odd choice.
Odd choice for Peter.
Maybe he wanted to do something from the first album, but he could have did Black Diamond. You know, he didn't need to play the drums for it because he didn't play the drums for all the songs. You Matter to Me, Don't You Let Me Down, 2 more solo album songs. And BC's he's just shaking his head there. He's gritting his teeth. He's shaking his head. Hooligan, which is excellent song, kick-ass song, excellent. Love it. Nothing to Lose, great song. You know, Gene's ode to, you know, anal sex. Still a cool song though. You know, the next song was the song called Words. I have no idea what that is. I don't know what that is.
Don't look at me.
I didn't really do any research on that song, so I don't know what that is. It didn't sound very anything that I would be interested in, or you. Hard Luck Woman was the next song, and I don't know if it's true, but it was said out there that he didn't sing that, which is interesting.
Maybe he had a special guest of Garth Brooks.
Maybe Garth Brooks, or maybe Rod Stewart got up to sing it, because Paul Stanley supposedly wrote that song for Rod Stewart and as a Maggie May type song, and apparently it was not well received. So maybe Rod Stewart got up and do that. You know, maybe, but you know, we didn't see the headline of it, so I'm assuming that just one of the dudes in the Sister Doll sang it. Next song is my nemesis, Beth.
Your favorite?
Yeah, Rock and Roll All Night, which I could see him doing that. I could, you know. And then he does Sing, Sing, Sing by Gene Krupa, which it's a big band song. I'm not going to knock it. It's an instrumental thing. It's a big band thing. It's kind of catchy. I looked it up today on Amazon Music. The original version of it that they have on there is like a 9-minute song. And they did I looked at it. I didn't watch the whole thing on video, but it was like they cut it down like 4.5 minutes. What do you think?
Again, nothing against Peter, but Peter has never done anything for me personally since back even in the Kiss days.
So you mean you would not have paid the $275 to go see Peter and play this show?
I would not pay the $275. I mean, I would go for free. No offense, I guess.
Okay, I mean, I would. If
other than like Hooligan and Strutter and there's other
maybe
songs.
Nothing to Lose.
Nothing to Lose, yes, but I mean,
Strange Ways is always cool.
Yeah, but I can't pick. I know Peter doing it. I'm sorry again. People gonna be out there gonna send me hate mail probably because I'm not up with Peter. But
yeah, well, hey, you can't like everything.
I'm being honest.
Oh, you have to be. Why bullshit anybody? You know what I mean? Who cares? You know, we're just here, two guys. You know, actually having a couple beers, bullshitting about stuff we like. So, okay, I'm gonna go song by song. I Can't Stop the Rain. And actually, today I did do some research. I got on Amazon Music and I downloaded. I couldn't even bring myself to listen to the whole album, so I just listened to the songs that he played live, and I gotta say, I didn't hate them as much now as I did then. I'm not saying I liked them, but I hated them less. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't as much of a spike in the head, you know what I mean? Kind of thing. And the one good thing is they're not long songs. You know, not to be a dick, but, you know, they weren't really long songs. So, okay, I Can't Stop the Rain. I mean, you know, can anyone stop the rain? Come on, really, people?
I might have heard it. The only reason I might have heard it is because I borrowed it off Steve.
Oh, okay.
And that's probably the only... I do not own any Peter Criss.
Yeah, and you know what? And I actually do not own any of his other albums that he did after Kiss, like Out of Control. My buddy Rob had that, and I remember, I think he did You Better Run, I think, that Pat Benatar does. And that was kind of cool, but there was no, like, he never really had a hard rock thing to him. And, you know, that's kind of what I like. Some ballads I like, but they have to have a good melody. But, like, the Peter Criss, like, if you listen to them, they had a, you know, they say Dynasty was a disco feel. Peter Criss's solo album, I think, is like, you could attach it to some of the songs on Saturday Night Fever. Because it has that dancing type keyboard sound to it, you know, not what I would normally listen to.
I don't mean to go off on a rant, but talk about this and how his taste and the flavor of his music, I think that's why he was ousted at Kiss.
I can semi-agree with that. I think his skill set at the time was deteriorating.
Oh, very.
And, you know, and everyone, you know, that knows anything about Kiss knows the drug problems. And I don't know if it was so much alcohol with Peter, but I guess it was drugs and stuff like that. And he had been in a couple car accidents and his arms were hurt or whatever. And look at the on the Kissology, look at the Kobo show from 1975. He, like, fucking tears it up.
Rips it up.
Like, unbelievable. And then watch the show that was from, I think it was from 77, that's on the Kissology, that was the Budokan show, that has the Destroyer costumes and the Alive 2 stage. You could tell there's a decline there. You know? And
very obvious to
me. And, you know, and, like, who knows, did he even play the drums on all of his songs on the solo album? We don't know that. Vinny Poncia produced his solo album, and then he ended up producing Dynasty and Unmasked. So some of the Peter songs on the solo album had a disco feel to it. Apparently the story is that he was going to quit the band, like he threatened to 1,000,000 times before. Vinny didn't produce the next Kiss album, whatever, and people consider Dynasty to be a disco album. I really don't. I Was Made for Loving You.
Other than that,
okay. I mean, they did do like a 7-minute dance mix of it or something like that, but I don't know. I don't consider it a disco album. I really don't, because there's some good songs on there. Like, even like Peter's song, his you know, and we all know now that Anton Fig played on the whole album, with the exception of maybe Dirty Living. Dirty Living's a great song.
Great song, yes.
And if he threw that in this set list, that would be great. That, like, Baby Driver would have been a great song.
Would have been great.
And, you know, some people, like, hate that song. You know that? Some people are like, that song just sucks. It's cool. I really like that song. The next song in his set, Hooked on Rock and Roll, another song. That sounds like they can play that song like in American Graffiti. You know, it seriously does. Like, you can hear, you know, when Wolfman Jack's talking about the band's coming up. Here comes Peter Criss playing Hooked on Rock and Roll. You know, you can picture Harrison Ford with the underage girl in the car driving around listening to Hooked on Rock and Roll. You know, you could definitely hear that. But, like, not a not a song that I don't think any Kiss fan would be interested in, especially me. At 10 years old listening to this shit, I was like, what the... before I even cursed, I was like, what the fuck is this? Not cool.
Not cool.
Next song, Strange Ways, which was cool.
Good song.
Ace Frehley penned a song, but Ace, was apparently too shy to sing at the time. Peter sang it, which is still a cool song to this day. Kiss does it on they did it on the Sail Away show on the Kiss Cruise last year. The other Catman sang it. which you know what? And Eric Singer's got a great voice. I think he's carrying a lot of the vocals for Paul Stanley these days.
I have to agree with that.
But that's a whole that's a whole nother episode. That might be a two-parter. Next song, Strutter. Not really sure why we threw that in there. Maybe because it was from the first album. But like I said, he could have did Black Diamond.
Black Diamond would have been a better choice for Peter.
Yeah. Maybe because, it's not really iconic, but you had the doo-doo-doo, like the drum intro on Strutter. Believe me, it's not Where Eagles Dare from Iron Maiden by no stretch of the imagination, but it does begin with a drum intro. Maybe that's why, I don't know. An odd choice, I think. Back to the solo album, You Matter to Me.
Again,
that's the song that really has the disco keyboards in it, and then dun, 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 and it's just like, oh my god. Don't You Let Me Down, that's like straight out ballad, which if he did an album with rock songs, I could see that being on there. It's Beth-like, in my opinion. I'm not really... I would rather hear that than Beth. Although I do have to say Beth on Kiss Destroyer Resurrected sounds a lot better because Bob Ezrin brought out... You can hear the acoustic guitars and shit in that song. It does, for as much as it can never sound better, it does sound a little better. It's a little more interesting because you can hear more than you've ever heard in that song before. Next song, Hooligan.
There's not many Peter Criss songs that I like, but definitely Hooligan's up there, Baby Driver. That's more interesting to see him play.
Oh, yeah. And even, I think if you watch the concert from the Summit that was on Kissology, and they do Hooligan on there. And actually, that's one song, I don't know if it's Peter because he's singing it. If you watch, he kind of comes alive during that song. Like watching him drum, and he actually seems like he hits the cymbals with purpose. Like if you've seen him like we did on the reunion tour after, he's just hitting the cymbals just like a 5-year-old would hit them. You know what I mean? Like just enough for them to make noise where they would have to jack the microphones up. Where if you listen to his drum tech, that's what they had to do. They had to turn the microphones up so high on the drums because he wasn't able to hit the drums hard enough to...
What was that, 96?
96, yeah.
We saw the reunion tour in Philadelphia, and Peter came to the part where Peter does the drum solo, which, I'm sorry, again, nothing against Peter, but the drum solo days for Peter were long gone by then.
Yeah.
So we kind of had our opinion of him doing a solo, and
it wasn't good.
It wasn't good, so then as we turned around, we noticed somebody behind us dressed full head to toe as Peter Criss, and it felt kind of bad. And we're
kind of razzing him a little bit as he was doing a solo. Kind of thing. Trying to get more of a crowd response than he actually, I won't say deserved, but, kind of, we're really ragging on Peter tonight. I'm sorry. I feel kind of bad. Love you, Peter, but you didn't do it for us.
You went in a different direction, Peter.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, after Hooligan, we got Nothing to Lose.
Another good song.
Real good song. You know what the best version of Nothing to Lose is? On Unplugged.
Yes.
Where him and Eric Singer sing it, and you have the 2 drum kits going. That is fucking amazing. That is and my son Dylan, who is our producer, who is sitting here recording us now, he's shaking his head. He's like, yeah, that is a great version of that song. And poor Eric Singer and Bruce Kulick, man, when Ace and Peter came in that studio to practice, they had the writing was on the wall.
It was on the wall there.
Bold letters, this is it for you guys. But Nothing to Lose, kick-ass song. I'm not sure what was going on with this show. I'm not sure which songs that Peter actually played drums on and which ones he actually got up the front and sang. I should have did a little more research on it. Next song, Hard Luck Woman, which there were reports that he did not sing the song, so I'm not sure who did. Like we said, Rod Stewart. Maybe Garth Brooks. Maybe they could have made a little guest appearance, or he could have been the Robert Mason behind the curtain singing the song in the background or something. Beth, Next. Rock and Roll All Night. I could see him doing that. It's the Kiss anthem.
The Kiss anthem,
which
is...
At least he can do Shout It Out Loud. That's going to be another discussion, too, at some point. Rock and Roll All Night. And then he did Sing, 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 this Gene Krupa song. Big band thing. I think that would have went over a little better if he did that maybe in the middle of the set.
Yeah, instead of closing out the night
instead of closing it out. But there's the Peter Criss set, and that's our opinions on that. Like it or hate it. There it is. He did his quote unquote last solo show.
Thank you.
I still got to give it up to the guy. Dude's like 70 years old. My dad is, I think he's 70, turned 74 this year. I can't picture my dad doing that 4 years ago. I can't picture my dad doing that 40 years ago. But, not to be mean to any people that are older, but he's an old man. What age do you have to be these days to be considered an old man?
I would say 70, yes.
70, I think you're kind of in the old guy kind of thing. No offense to any, vibrant senior citizens out there. You come to a time where, you got to consider, like Paul Stanley says, you don't want to be the one that stays at the party too long. And that is another long, drawn-out discussion, which we will not get into this evening. Now that we talked about Mr. Peter Criss, another KISS member is out on the road as we speak, Mr. Gene Simmons. And anybody that is on this planet, and maybe even if you live on the colony on Mars, have heard about this, that Gene is trying to trademark the horns, quote unquote. If you look at the logo for our show, if he actually wanted to trademark the actual metal horns, we would be in trouble. But he wants to trademark.
We would be in debt.
Yeah. We would have to go on kissonline.com and pay $19.95 per use. But Gene wants to trademark. I'm sure it was probably just some publicity bullshit, But people are talking. Gene Simmons right now is on people's tongues. I got to give it up to my mom. Every time there's anything Kiss they're on TV, she will call me or text me, hey, Kiss is on Good Morning America, or hey, Kiss is on Dancing with the Stars, or whatever, When I saw her right after this came out, hey, how about Gene Simmons trying to, trademark that, that thing you guys do? I'm like, well, we don't do that. That's sign language for I love you, and then now he's coming out saying that it's a tribute to Spider-Man with him shooting his webs, but that's upside down horns.
Anybody who knows Gene knows Gene's about the money. Nothing against Gene, but if there's money to be made, Gene wants the money.
Tom Cruise next to him going, show me the money, show me the money. Him and Cuba Gooding Jr., he's got him going, show me the money, show me the money. And the little kid cowering in the corner, stop yelling. So Gene wants to see the money. He's got the money bag logo, And someone was saying that he was trying to trademark the money thing, but that was not it. It was the money bag thing that was the logo, I think, for Simmons Records when Gene was doing stuff. Speaking of Gene, like I said, Gene's on people's. He's on their radar now. He's on everybody's. People that aren't even Kiss fans, like the Dio fans, are fucking pissed. They're everyone's posting picture of Dio with the horns. Fuck you, Gene Simmons, and all this kind of shit. It's funny though. I mean, it's got people talking.
What happens when people start talking? People start buying things, and what? Gene gets more money.
Yep, no shit. Here we are. We're talking about it. We've already probably devoted 5 minutes on it. And we're going to devote even more time to Gene Simmons. Gene Simmons is out now doing a solo tour, which makes him the last original member to get out there and do something on his own. Which apparently this came about during Kiss Cruise 6 last year. A favorite of mine, the guy's name is Ryan Cook. He is the guitar player for the Big Rock Show that has been on every Kiss cruise with the exception of last year, which of course was the first year I was on there, so I didn't get to see them on the cruise. But they played the pre-party before. He was in a band called what?
Hair of the Dog.
Hair of the Dog. These guys were a great rock band.
Great rock band. 3 albums, I think.
3 albums they had. They were out of Nashville, Tennessee, I believe, where the Big Rock Show was out of. Great band. Real super nice guy. I got to speak with him before the pre-party at the Hard Rock Cafe down in Miami last year, the day before we went on the Kiss Cruise. I went up to him and I said, hey, Ryan, nice to meet you and stuff like that. I said, I love the Hair of the Dog stuff. And I said, we got to see you guys play. He goes, well, where are you from? I said, we saw you in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And he goes, oh my God. He goes, that fucking place with the with the big post in the middle of the thing. He goes, what's the name of that place?
Tinks.
I said, Tinks. He goes, Tinks, that's it. He goes, it was a great show, great crowd. I think they opened for L.A. Guns. Was it L.A. Guns or Rat, maybe? I think it was Rat.
I think it was Rat.
It was Rat with Stephen Piercy, because it was just the Rat album with the song Lovesick on there, which is like the best Rat song. If you've never checked out the song called Lovesick, it's on the Rat album. It is phenomenal.
But not to get off the mark, anybody out there, if you seriously check out Hair of the Dog.
Oh, absolutely. On their second album, Lemmy sings a song with them. It's called The Law. It's friggin' excellent. Great songs. Good, like, kind of party, hard rock band. Straightforward rock, yeah. No bullshit. It's about partying and getting laid and shit. You know, it's like a harder rock version of like Kiss songs, pretty much. It's got a little twinge of maybe a little southern rockish kind of shit to them.
Twist to it.
But good solid band. Ryan was on the cruise. He was with Rachel Bolan from Skid Row. Skid Row was a band that was playing on the Kiss cruise. And him and Rachel Bolan do, I believe it's called the Rock and Roll Radio Show. They DJ. They did a couple shows on the Kiss cruise. They bullshit a little bit back, kind of like this. They bullshit back and forth, and then they play like kick-ass, like hard rock music and shit, and just, it's cool. So Ryan was on there with that. And apparently Gene had asked him to have lunch with him one day on the cruise and said, you know, I want you to put a band together, and I want to do some solo shows. A couple weeks after the cruise, Ryan had said, you know, something cool coming, kind of a little build up to it. So then he finally revealed that he had lunch with Gene Simmons on the cruise, and he wanted to do some solo shows. So that's the band that is doing the Gene's backup band, the Big Rock Show. And they go by the THEE Rock and Roll Residency in Nashville too. And they've been doing shows with Gene since the beginning of this year. And we were fortunate enough, myself, BC, my son Dylan, and my buddy Rob, huge Kiss fan. We went down to see Gene on June 2nd down in Philly at the Trocadero.
At the Trocadero, which is in the middle of Chinatown. Anybody who does not familiar with the place.
Yeah, we've never been down there before.
Never been there until that day.
Cool venue, small place, but
very
it
cool.
was packed. It was like packed. We got there, we went down, we hired a car to go down so we could all have our adult beverages on the way down, and got dropped off early. We got there, the line was literally down the street and around the corner
and down the block.
So we're like, you know what? Fuck this. Let's go get something to eat. So we went to a Chinese restaurant. We got something
Shocking.
to eat. So then probably an hour later, we came out. The line's still down around the corner. So we're standing in line, and unfortunately, or fortunately,
there was
a bar right at the end of the thing. And
so instead of being like harsh, we decided to go into the bar and then waste some time before the show, and hopefully the line would move. And eventually the line moved after several drinks.
Eventually, after several beers and stuff, the line was gone,
and then we
walked right up
to the show. And
of course, we missed all the opening bands and stuff. Sorry, guys. There was a band called Mach 22. Matt Porter played them on the Kiss Room that day, which I didn't get to listen to until later. And the song he played was fantastic. I wish that we had gotten to see them. But we walked in as soon as that band was getting done. So we finally got our spot. And Gene came on. It was fantastic. Now, I'm going to read off the set list of what the show we saw. And then I have the set list of the two shows prior to that. And I'm not going to read all the songs, but I'm going to read the songs that weren't played at our show that we didn't get to see. And then vice versa for the other show. Okay? Our show consisted of Open Up a Deuce. You cannot go wrong Open Up a Deuce. I'm sorry, you just cannot. Shout It Out Loud was next, which is a song I could absolutely live without.
Do without.
You know, Ryan Cook sang the Paul Stanley part of that, which was really fucking cool. Nothing to Lose was next. See, him and Peter, they're simpatico there. You know, they're
it's a good song.
They're just the same. Calling Dr. Love he did next. Then the next song he did, which I thought was a seriously odd choice, but I could kind of see why he did it. He did Do You Love Me? And he brought some lovely ladies up on stage to sing the Do You Love Me part of the background, which I think maybe 3 of the 15 girls that were up there even had a clue what the
song was. But
I Love It Loud which was cool. He brought the guys up.
Brought the
on
guys
stage
up for that time.
One of my buddies that I met on the Kiss Cruise, Michael Cavaccini, it was his bachelor party there. He was one of the guys up on stage. What better way to have a bachelor party? You're up on stage singing with Gene Simmons. I mean, jeez. I mean, hey, what a better way to start your almost married life. Kudos out to you there, Michael. Parasite was next.
Which was very cool because he asked if there's any younger people in the crowd that actually play an instrument and wanted to come up on stage. And 13-year-old kid came up and
they gave him a guitar.
They gave him a guitar and said, "What do you want to sing and play?" And he goes, "I don't want to sing. I just want to play guitar." And Gene said, "Okay, what do you want to play?" And he said, "Parasite." And I think Gene was a little taken back by that.
Yeah, and you could kind of hear the audible gasp in the crowd, like, "Oh, holy shit!" You know,
not like a cookie cutter.
Yeah, and I mean, at
Kiss
that point, you're thinking, man, you know, for this kid's sake, I hope he doesn't suck. You know, I hope he, you know, is good. And the kid killed it.
He came up, he killed it.
He got up, the kid had a stage presence. He came right out to the front of the stage, strapped on that guitar.
Let it rip.
Yeah, I mean, you know, hey, solo wasn't note for note, but hey,
13 years old.
13 years old, jeez, I mean, but like, it was like he fit in the band the way he played the song. He was great.
He was great, and that was a highlight of the show for me. I think it was pretty cool. I thought.
Oh yeah, and plus, I mean, Parasite. I mean, you can't go wrong. And I don't wonder if that song wasn't in the set. Anyways, I think it's in the other. It's in both of the other sets that I have written down. I don't wonder if that was a little staged, maybe.
Could have been.
Because maybe he was a kid in the meet and greet or something like that. Because I believe that's the first show that he did that at. Had a kid come up, if I'm not mistaken. So who knows? Who knows? You know, it's Gene. You know, he doesn't do much without a plan.
Gene never wants to look bad.
Yeah. There's food for thought for all you Gene guys that didn't think of that before, because I've been listening to a couple podcasts with talking about the Gene shows, and that was one aspect that was never brought up. And actually, I swear to God, I just thought of it like right now. So there's food for thought for you guys out there. Next song, Radioactive, which was great. Premiered once again on Kiss Cruise 6 last year, which the crowd went crazy for, myself included. Christine 16.
Another Love Gun track.
Sweet and Dirty Love.
That was different. Next. That was very different, I thought. I liked it.
We'll get into that. Got Love for Sale. I'm going to have a long dissertation on that in a little while. Cold Gin, which we're going to get into that too, and the ball busting that goes on with that song for me and my friends and son. Charisma was next, which that's one of the main songs that people wanted to hear from Gene. Like that, they never played live. They did it. They lip synced it on some TV show, if it was Europe or South America or something, like a long time ago.
Another highlight of the show.
Yeah. Domino,
another Kiss Revenge album.
And then they did a little jam. They introduced the guys in the band. Each guy played a little thing, which was cool. And oddly enough, the drummer, his last name was Simmons. And, and Gene said, he likes to call me Uncle Gene, kind of thing. I wonder if he makes him pay to have his last name be Simmons. You know what I mean? Even to have it mentioned on the same stage as him. So then the next song, which I thought was crazy, we'll get into that too. The song called Rice Pudding by Jeff Beck. I don't even like rice pudding to fucking eat. We'll discuss that after. Let Me Go Rock and Roll, which is
another
awesome.
Classic.
And then I wrapped up the night with
the trademark.
If you had to guess, if your life had someone had a gun to your head, you would live, because it's of course Rock and Roll All Night. So the previous two shows he played, I believe, was Barman, Oklahoma, April 6th. Here's songs that he pretty much the same set list except for these songs: Almost Human, Plaster Caster, Watching You, Going Blind. And he played April 8th in St. Louis. He also, same set list except for he did Almost Human, Plaster Caster, Watching You, and then he did a version of Johnny Be Good, which I believe that was right after Chuck Berry passed away, and I think that was a tribute to him, because I think it might have been that day or right around that show.
Would have been cool to see that
when he did, because he did the eulogy. Part of the eulogy for Chuck Berry, and I could have swore he said it was the same exact stage, it was the same place that he played where they had the thing. And if you watch that, it's on YouTube. Gene gets emotional. He gets into how he was when he came from Israel and stuff like that, and he didn't know the language and stuff like that, and he was pretty much discriminated against. And Chuck Berry, kind of being a African American gentleman, in the 50s, I mean, God. Can't imagine. That's the only other song that he did different in those sets. So let's talk about the songs that we didn't get to see. Top of the list, Almost Human. like freak out. You hear that down.
Another classic Love Gun tune.
Yeah, absolutely.
My first Kiss album ever, so that Plaster Caster, Love Gun.
Yeah, really, no
so
shit.
It's like, there's my first Kiss album that I ever bought. Would have been cool to see those tunes.
Yeah, really. I mean, like, okay, so we have Almost Human, Got Love for Sale, Plaster Caster, Christine 16. So you got 5 songs. They're all the songs that he sang
on the Love Gun.
On Love Gun. So he pretty much covered all his Love Gun shit, which is, wow, crazy. Plaster Caster, although I do like, once again, and I'm not an Unplugged guy, but Plaster Caster sounds fantastic on Kiss Unplugged. Just sounds like phenomenal. The bass on that just sounds kick-ass. Watching You, awesome song. Classic from Hotter Than Hell. But that was a song that was on the original demos that Eddie Kramer produced, but never made it to the first Kiss album, which was weird. They could have axed the love theme from Kiss, which sucks, and put that on there, which I don't know why they didn't do that. Going Blind, another Hotter Than Hell song.
Hotter Than Hell.
The bass in that song is he plays amazing, and Gene is I think he's very underrated as a bass player. Listen to some of the songs, the bass lines that he plays. Except don't listen to Torpedo Girl, because apparently Ace played bass on another kind of a quirky, weird song. Good song, but
good song overall. But
apparently Gene does not play bass on that, so you can't go by Gene's skills on that one. So there's the songs that Gene did that we didn't get to see. We'll go to our set list. Deuce, boom, you put on Kiss Alive. What comes on first?
Deuce.
Hottest band in the land. And it sounds like piss. Doesn't it sound like piss? It really does. It sounds like piss. Bombastic song. Can't beat it. And
sets the tone.
Although the band didn't really do the choreography little thing that they do towards the end of the song that I think is cool. That's like nowadays when you see that, the crowd goes wild when they do that. And I still love it too. I'm a geeky Kiss fan at times, and I think that is cool as fuck when they do that. Shout It Out Loud.
And there's a song I could do without.
Overplayed.
Even back in the day, it did thrill me.
I like the verse. The verses are cool because it's a Paul and Gene back and forth, but the Shout It Out Loud, it's monotonous. I understand why they play it, Ryan Cook did a great job doing the Paul Stanley parts. Next, Nothing to Lose, which is a cool song. It's got the cool, alive feel. Even though they don't play it a lot, I sometimes feel like that song is overplayed. I don't know why. Do You Love Me was the next song. A lot of the songs, the guys in the band picked up the vocals too. Like I said,
every now and then you saw Gene was a little hesitant, and the guys in the band stepped up and.
Oh, absolutely. Any time where Gene was struggling,
the guys
for the
in the
songs
band
that they don't normally do. I mean, those guys were great professional musicians. They would jump in, carry the parts of the songs that they needed to. I mean, but you can tell they're kind of watching Gene if he starts to struggle. They're always in proximity of a microphone to jump in there and do something. And that's the song that the girls came up on stage.
He was included in the crowd and in the show, which is always nice to see.
Yeah, but I mean, it took up probably 10 minutes to get all the
to get the girls up there
and tell them what they're going to do, and not to mention, one of my big things is he's not doing it much lately because of his voice, but Paul Stanley would just chatter incessantly between songs, and Gene was kind of getting the same way. And my feeling on that is, all right, Gene's out there. I mean, he's playing songs he normally plays, talking a little bit. It was kind of an electric storyteller's type thing. But even like in a regular Kiss concert, like, you don't need to announce every song. All right, they're like, David Coder, here's a song for ya. But he'll say that, but he won't say what the song is, and they'll just start to play it. But like go to a Kiss show now, like almost every song is announced. I like to see a band play a song and
you go right into the next song.
Start right into another song. I think that has more of an effect rather than an inane chatter in between songs. This song we wrote. Yeah, we wrote this song because of blah blah blah, whatever. Blah, like
blah.
If you're a Kiss fan, you pretty much know the origins of the songs and all that shit. But just going to one song into another, do it for 3 or 4 songs in a row, and I think a song like that you don't know. Well, you can't say you don't know what's coming because everybody knows the set lists anymore. which
And
you know as much as me, I've gone dark. What I mean by that is I don't check out bands' set lists anymore. I want to go in like Frankenstein, fresh. I want to go in fresh. I want to be surprised by what they're playing. But although with Kiss anymore, you really can't because they're telling you what song's coming up before they play it. If they do play an obscure song, like even if they announce it, you ought to be like, holy shit, they're playing, whatever. But like if you know the set list, and Kiss is not really known for changing it up a lot. Cheap Trick, they could play boom, 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 any song in their catalog at any time, and they will do it. Like they did it with Eddie Trunk. Dylan and I went to a show down at the Sands, and apparently Eddie Trunk wrote their set list for them. They did their usual songs they have to do, but like they did a lot of songs that were off the radar, which was kick ass. You're kind of a
love to see
dream concert. Like we've had many discussions about that. About like if you could pick a set list.
So again, that's where the show kind of lacks when you start talking instead of playing. Which we understand that the women are coming up on the stage and you're trying to kill time and anyways, blah blah blah.
But in my mind is when you start having long lags in between songs and shit like that, you're taking up time that you could be playing another song,
and you're killing the momentum.
Yeah.
You get the crowd into it, and then you start talking for
you're talking.
like 5-10 minutes.
Oh, absolutely. You lose momentum. Next song, I Love It Loud, which is another song I could absolutely live without.
Because you hear it so much.
It was actually cool though. The guys came up, and like I said, my buddy Michael was up there, which was cool. Good, good for him. We because of us getting there later, we weren't able to get up close enough where we would possibly be able to get up on stage, and that would have been totally like fucking cool. We didn't make the cut, as we say, but usual. I Love It Loud. You hear it at every Kiss show. Apparently, that's one of Gene's favorite songs. So whatever. Then the next song is Parasite, where that young man got up and played. Totally killed it. And like I said, now that I think about it, I don't think it was unplanned. I think maybe he was a kid from the meet and greet, and it was something that was brought out, because I don't think Gene was going to take a chance of having some kid come up there and just like suck.
That is true.
I'm not saying they auditioned him, but maybe they had him play a little bit. I could be wrong. I could be totally off base, but Kiss doesn't really seem to do much. Any guys in Kiss don't really seem to do too much without a plan.
Gene does not set himself up for failure.
He does not. Just listen to any of his motivational talks or whatever. Next, Radioactive. Opening song from his solo album, which is great. And I will say, at the beginning of the show, they did play the introduction to Radioactive before Deuce came on. When they were coming on, they did play that, which is a really cool intro. Really, really cool. Radioactive, great song. Arguably the best song on his solo album, because his solo album was eclectic at best.
Yeah.
I think he was just trying to see how many stars he could get to guest star on it to play.
Not as bad as Peter Criss, but
no. But
it had its own feel for it.
It definitely comes in third for me out of this 4 solo albums.
Yes.
And not a close third either. It's like back there pretty far.
Ace and Paul, and then Gene and Peter.
Yeah, like way down the road. You got like got the car in the lead and the car right on his ass, and then you have the guy in third place. He's maybe like a quarter of a lap back, but then like Peter Criss's album, he's
7
the guy
laps
that
down.
You've already lapped a couple times.
Okay, that's enough, Peter Criss.
I know we
gotta
him today.
move on.
I'm
sorry, Peter.
We love you, buddy. Christine 16.
Another
Love Gun track. I gotta say about Christine 16, I feel that is a song that now it's like the Creeper song. It's not as bad as I'm 93 or 16 or whatever, going blind, but it's Kiss. You know what I mean? It's people aren't thinking, he's a molester singing that now. I mean, it's just it's a little weird.
Anybody that was there knows it's the Kiss song from back in the day. And
yeah, like Winger singing "She's Only 17." We just saw them a couple weeks ago. We saw them in M3. He's like, "She's only 43" or something like
47.
that. 47 or something like that. They say, which is they take it. They're rolling with the punches. Next, "Sweet and Dirty Love" from Asshole. Great song, and that was
great song.
I think that is the best song on that album. It's apparently an old riff from one of Gene's millions of demos or whatever that he's done throughout the years.
1995, you can get a hold of that demo.
Yeah, great song. And I have to say that all the songs that Gene wasn't used to playing, they weren't it wasn't a big production like a Kiss show where they had teleprompters in front of him for the lyrics, they would bring out big poster boards with the lyrics written on them, and they would set it on the ground on Gene's right, where he could just stand there and look down and read the lyrics of the song. I mean, it wasn't like the teleprompters they have now that are like karaoke, and the words they light up as you sing them. But there was one point in the show, I'm not exactly sure where it was, where they brought out one of these lyric sheets, and then a guy came and then they was talking, and then the guy came out and took it away. I was wondering what song that was. I mean, we'll never know. I do remember that. But it was a song that they were apparently supposed to do that they didn't get to do. So I don't know if he, if it was, if he called an audible. Okay, we're not going to do the song, so, take it away. So, next, move on.
I wonder if it was one of the songs that we did not see from the previous shows.
But I don't know, though. But he pretty much, unless it was, maybe Almost Human, because, Plaster Caster, they've been singing forever. Watching You, he's been singing, not forever, but... But that's a pretty stock Kiss song. Maybe Let Me Know, which would have been just oh my God. Next song, which I have to say is in my top 3 Kiss songs ever, and it has always been Got Love for Sale. They could have just got up on stage that night, played that song, and been done, and I would have been a happy man. and as my buddy, that I've loved that song forever. Although I do have to say about that song, it's on Love Gun. I believe that song sounds like it should be on Rock and Roll Over. I don't think I've ever even said that to you before.
No, I've heard that before.
But I really think that's a song that the sound of that song sounds more like it should fit on Rock and Roll Over than Love Gun. I mean, hey, I'm glad it's on any Kiss album, trust me. But that's a song that I would die a happy man to see that live, and I did. And I'm hoping to see that on Kiss Cruise 7 this year. Got Love for Sale. What do you think, BC?
One of my favorite Kiss songs. Not my favorite, but in the top Kiss songs from the makeup years, I would say.
All right. Fair enough. Next song is going to be Cold Gin. Kiss classic. Go ahead.
Usually by Ace, but in the famous lyrics of
get
another quad.
When Ace sings it, that I want to run into traffic when Ace sings that. And the first time I heard him sing that, I was just like, what? And I forget what. It might have been on the Australia show that's on the Kissology, and Ace is like, "Gotta leave and get another quad," and I'm like, "That right now the hair is standing up on the back of my neck. I fucking hate that. I just want to kill him when he sings it like that."
He's from New York.
And then of course every time we see Kiss live and they do Cold Gin, whether we see Ace or Kiss, they all turn to me at once and go quad. And we get a big laugh out of it now, but it still just drives me out of my fucking
nails
mind.
on a chalkboard.
Yeah, that's that song. Okay, next up we have Charisma from the Dynasty, or as everyone says, and Paul Stanley says, the Dynasty album.
The Dynasty.
Charisma. That was one of the songs, I think, last year they put out a survey to the people that were on the Kiss Cruise. What songs do you want to hear Kiss play on the Sail Away show? Which I think everyone voted for, whatever. I voted for, King of Hearts and something. Paul could never freaking sing that now, but it would be cool to see them do it. Maybe Eric Singer could sing it. But Charisma was one of the top songs that came in for that. That, and I think All Hell's Breaking Loose was one of the main songs, too. So, Gene does Charisma.
Personally, I love the song Charisma, even from back in the day. So,
absolutely.
I'm a Charisma guy.
Yeah, and it's only one of 2 Gene songs on Dynasty. Ace has more songs than Gene on Dynasty. He's got 2000 Man, he's got Save Your Love, and he's got Hard Times. And Gene has X-Ray Eyes and Charisma. You can see the tide turning a little bit, Maybe that was when Gene was starting to get into the Hollywood shit and all that stuff,
Hollywood Gene.
Hard to say. But Charisma, great song. That was one of the dream, in quotations, Gene songs that people wanted to hear, myself being one of them. And it was just a fantastic song for him to do. And he still needed the lyric sheet for that, because I noticed they brought that out for him there. Charisma, cannot go wrong with it. Domino was next. Tasha.
Classic Gene.
Classic Gene. Tasha, that one was for you. I was supposed to record that for you, but I got messed up doing it. I got about maybe 45 seconds of the song. Sorry. It is online. Awesome, though. Domino, classic from Revenge.
My favorite non-makeup Kiss album.
Was it? Okay. Hey, and that could be another show. Non-makeup Kiss. Not, you can't say 80s Kiss because
There was some makeup and some non-makeup.
Yeah. Non-makeup stuff included Revenge and Carnival of Souls, which I don't think we'll be picking a lot of songs off of Carnival of Souls. Maybe
a few.
Surprise here or there, After that, they did the band intros. They introed each guy. Once again, poor drummer has to pay Gene every time he says his name on stage. Phil Souse was the one guitar player, Ryan Cook, and I apologize to the other guitar player. I don't recall your name, but you did kick ass. Then after that, we did this dessert song. So we had the meal throughout the whole show. So now at the end, we were going to have our dessert. So I guess Deuce and Shout It Out Loud, they were our appetizers, and then we had our main course during the meat of the set. So now we're having our rice pudding for dessert.
I don't know.
It didn't fit.
It didn't fit in, first of all. In my opinion, again, not opinion of everybody, but...
Yeah, well,
And I'm not familiar with Jeff Beck.
Yeah, I mean, okay, it was an influential thing, but we're there to see Gene. We're there to hear Kiss songs. You know what? I mean, it is his show. He can do what he wants to do, but you had a good momentum. You had Cold Gin with a quad.
The quad.
Charisma. Domino. And it was cool when they did the intros, because each guy played a little thing,
song that they liked, yeah.
And then, rice pudding. Everyone was kind of looking at one another, going like, "What the fuck is this?" And then, in my opinion, when the song got over, I was still like, "What the fuck was that?"
Unless you're a Jeff Beck fan.
Yeah. And hey, no offense, Jeff Beck, but that song is terrible. Next, Let Me Go Rock and Roll. You cannot go wrong with that song.
Go wrong.
The soloing in that song is just phenomenal. And I will have to say, when we saw Kiss in Vegas, my wife and I went out there, and my cousin Kim went with us to the show. And that they did Let Me Go Rock and Roll either second or third in the set. And I think it was the only night that they did it. And I love that song. I love the soloing in that song. And anytime Kiss does that song is just like off the scale. I love that song. You cannot go wrong with that. I kind of would have been disappointed if Gene did not do Let Me Go Rock and Roll.
I would have been happy if he finished the show with Let It Go Rock and Roll.
True. Very true.
But they have to play the traditional rock and roll all night. Which I don't care what band it is, Kiss, Motley Crue, Iron Maiden, they got those trademark ones they have to do.
That you have to do. Yeah.
Just like back in the 80s, everybody had to do a ballad.
But you know what was cool? Remember when we saw, I want to say, I don't know if it was Revenge or Hot in the Shade tour. They did Rock and Roll Night in the beginning third of the set. It wasn't last. It was in the beginning, probably the first third of the show.
Might have been Revenge, because didn't they finish off with God Gave Rock and Roll to You?
Yeah, that very well could have been. I'll have to look that up. I didn't do any research on that. I just pulled that one out of my ass.
If anybody out there wants to help us with that.
Yeah, let us know. I will look it up after that. I probably won't, because I'll forget. But I'm just saying that, just to say it. Can I go on with the rest of my life without ever hearing that song again?
Yes.
Absolutely. But, it's the song, and Paul Stanley, I believe he's the one that drives the set list of Kiss. And I think he's the one that pretty much makes the choices of what songs they're going to do and which ones they're not going to do. And I believe, I think I read in an article or saw an interview where Paul Stanley hates I Love It Loud. But that's in the set because Gene insists that that's in the set because he feels that that's his modern day anthem, and I could see that. It has which actually sometimes I don't mind it. Other times I do. I don't know what it is, but the best version of that is on Creatures of the Night because the drums are so bombastic on that album. The great late Eric Carr, best drumming album for him. The production, Michael James Jackson on that. phenomenal. Just like, you can't go wrong with the sound on that album.
I know, but true. But Rock and Roll All Night, to me, is just that song they have to play. And unfortunately, in today's world, where this is a whole nother rant that can go on for another 2-hour show of how so-called fans nowadays call themselves fans of the bands, but only know the hits.
Play the hits.
Play the hits. And we could go on for 3-4 hours on that alone.
And you will hear us rant from time to time on this show, and you will hear either one of us or both of us, maybe sometimes even in chorus, go, play the hits.
Play the hits.
We read M3, just a quick story, we read M3 a couple years ago, and Europe was the headliner at the thing, which some people were really disappointed in. I thought they were excellent. And I was just happy that they didn't do what they did in 1986 when I saw them. They didn't open up and close with Final Countdown, which I thought was like absolutely fucking stupid. But they were playing songs from the new album, which their new album at the time is War of Kings, I think it was. And
there's a band that's definitely underrated. They got labeled with the Final Countdown and
Carrie
and all that stuff, but they really become into their own, I think.
Oh, they have
a good hard rock band.
They have some great stuff out there.
Going back to the M3 thing, everybody's there to so-called fans, and they want to hear the hits.
And and much to the chagrin of the and we're members of it, and we love all of our friends on the M3 Rockers Facebook page, but we may be known as shit stirrers on there, so we're gonna have an M3 episode about the M3 festival, and there's gonna be some unhappy people when they hear our views on that, but that's gonna be down the road.
Yeah, granted, we understand that these are the hits back in that era, and that made the bands mainly, but guess what? These bands are still alive today and putting out new music.
Right, and people aren't willing to give bands a chance at new stuff. They just want to hear the hits. Play the hits. But you know what? Listen to most bands, their hits are not the best songs on the albums. I'm sorry, they're not.
And on that, we're going to leave that subject because we can go on for an hour.
Yeah, we're going to let that one lie for now. And as we go along here, you're going to see glimpses of our views and stuff like that, stuff that we're going to discuss down the road. Yeah, that was the Gene show. Rock, and we ended up. Last song was Rock and Roll Night. We can't, that's, Okay, so now that we've gone through the Gene show, BC, I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to give mine also. Give me 3 Gene songs that Gene did not play that you would have liked to see Gene play.
I've always been different than the rest of the people, but I would have liked to see Not for the Innocent.
Ooh, wow.
And maybe a little Unholy.
Unholy, okay. I mean, they've played that before, but still.
They played it as kids, but classic from Revenge.
Oh, absolutely. That's and I think that like both of those songs, the band could have absolutely pulled them off. I mean, definitely. Especially Unholy, We're firefighters, and we have a fire horn in town when it goes off. And every time that goes off, reminds me of those opening chords
of
in Unholy. Reminds me of our fire horn blowing, like every time I hear that. And great song. Give me number 3.
And I would have liked to see Asshole.
Okay.
I kind of like it. It's kind of catchy to me, but
I think that would have been a fun song to do.
Fun song for Gene.
Not your exactly family-friendly song. I mean, there were kids at the show, but you know what? I'm sorry. If you go to a rock show, you
gotta expect.
You have to expect some sort of vulgarity or coarseness, whatever you want to call it. That's the way things are. Whether it be it coming from on stage or someone in the crowd, a song, oh, that's fucking awesome, you know what I mean, or the crowd. I mean, hey, listen to Paul Stanley's potty mouth in the 80s. I mean, like, holy shit. Like, I mean, you went from usual Paul Stanley Southern Baptist banter in between songs to talking about Gene's tongue and that baby had the longest fucking tongue I've ever seen. So you got to kind of expect that kind of thing and not be so upset when you hear something like that, because you're going to, and you're definitely going to hear it on this show.
So that was my 3. What were your 3, Beastie?
Okay, my number 1 would be Naked City from Unmasked. I'm a convert from my buddies on podcast Rock City. They're Joe Polo and Jody Havnot. They are big proponents of Unmasked, which I'm coming around on that. But I did give Naked City a good, like the bass in that, and it's a great song. It is a great song. Totally underrated. It would have been awesome to see that. And the next two are going to be from Asylum, which people say they're down on Gene in the 80s. Gene, he wasn't with the band, blah, 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 whatever. I mean, that may very well be. However, Secretly Cruel. That song, produced differently, could easily be on Rock and Roll Over. There's a video of it on YouTube. I can't think of the name of the guy that does it. Does a video of that. He plays all the instruments. He does all the makeup and stuff like that. And he does it in the vein of classic Kiss. And it's phenomenal. Secretly Cruel. Kick-ass song. Give it a listen. Picture them doing that in like 1976, 77. It would be friggin' great. And the next one, which I think is one of the best Kiss riffs in a song, Any Way You Slice It. Like, those chopping guitars from Bruce Kulick in the beginning are just phenomenal. Any Way You Slice It. Great. And like I said, people are down on Gene in the 80s. I loved the Gene shit in the 80s. Like, people really bust balls on Burn Bitch Burn, let me put my log in your fireplace and all this shit. You know what? I'm sorry. Kiss is a party rock and roll band. Let's get laid, let's have fun, let's party and shit. They're not fucking Dream Theater. They're not the sophisticated band with the lyrics. They're not Queen's Reich. They're a party band. If you hear like cheesy lyrics like that, you know what? Go with it. You know what? Don't hate a song because it's a good song. So there's my three. Which take it for what it is, food for thought. Let us, you guys out there, let us know. Give us 3 songs that you would like to see Gene do that he didn't do. Get on Setlist FM and check out the set list that he's done, and give us 3 songs that you guys would have liked to see Gene do. Maybe, maybe we'll get Ryan Cook to check out our show here, and maybe he'll talk to Gene and say, "Hey, Gene, how about a little Secretly Cruel?" The dudes on Potter Than Hell, they really want to hear that song,
Because we know the band can definitely pull off the tunes.
Yeah, hey, BC wants you to play Unholy again. What do you think? Can you hook us up with? As we're on the, we did Peter. We talked about Peter's show. Sorry, Peter. And I got to tell BC we better fortify our homes, and when the Peter fans come to our house with torches and pitchforks and shit to burn us out like Frankenstein, we'll know why. All right. Sorry, Peter. Sorry,
home
Peter
insurance
fans.
is paid up, so we're good.
That's true. Make sure the insurance policies are up to date. So let's talk about briefly about the other 2 original Kiss guys, Paul and Ace. They've done some solo stuff. You have one up on me. You saw Paul Stanley in 1989 live. Give me a little heads up on that.
1989 in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. I believe the place was called the station.
The Station.
The Station.
Was it the Station or was it the Bebop Lounge? It was one of them.
The Bebop Lounge at the Station.
Okay.
Went down to check out, of course, Paul Stanley. And it was I think phenomenal. It was typical Paul Stanley.
Except for the body glove guitar.
Yeah.
That is stupid looking.
I know you came down here to see Paul Stanley, and you heard that on that lawn, but overall, the band backing up was great. And,
now I know BC's out in the audience.
And he had Eric Singer at the time, which later on became a member of Kiss. And that's a whole nother podcast about Eric.
You gotta love Eric Singer. He's very underrated as to what he means to Kiss as right now, and that. But and you had Bob Kulick on guitar.
Bob Kulick, right? Yes, and the rest of the guys. I'm sorry, a little blurry, but
yeah, that was a long time ago.
Many moons ago.
It was a lot of beers ago.
A lot of beers and many moons. Yeah, but that was my number 1 solo out of all the guys. Would be Paul Stanley, followed by Ace Frehley, which I've seen a few times. Like at the earliest time was when he first, after leaving Kiss, started performing, and we saw him at the West Side Theater in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
And that was before Frehley's Comet album came out. So we got to see Ace, and at that point, BC and I were not friends at that point. And I'm with my buddy Rob and his buddy Bob LaMotta, the guy's name was, and he brought a 35mm camera with the big lens and stuff like that. And they had security come and they took the film right out of his camera. They didn't want Ace photographed at that point without makeup. I mean, like, the dude was out of Kiss for like probably 3 years, and it was the classic band. It was Anton Fig on drums. It was John Regan on bass. What do they call him? The Emperor of Rock and Roll. Richie Scarlett was on guitar.
Too much heroin.
And Todd Howarth. Todd Howarth, who is right now, him and John Regan. I myself never got to see Paul Stanley live. He also, and Paul has done 2 tours. He's played when he had his Live to Win album out, he did a series of shows which he put out on a CD and DVD, One Live Kiss, which his band was the backup band from the Rockstar show, Rockstar NXS show, which the band was excellent. And we had a discussion about Paul's band versus Gene's band, I believe, maybe on the way home from the Gene show.
Yes,
and and we loved both. Unfortunately, neither one of us got to see Paul's band besides on the DVD. But we tipped the needle towards Gene's band because they were more. They were tight, but they were loose. They rolled with the punches.
They rolled with the punches.
But Paul's band, they were fantastic, but they were very precise,
polished, very
polished. There you go. That's what I'm looking for.
Or Gene guys, they were up there having fun. They're just, joking with each other. It was just more relaxed atmosphere.
Right, like they were more like buddies playing than hired guns. Yeah. So we saw Ace at the West Side Theater, and we saw him a year and a half ago in Wilkes-Barre. The infamous Wilkes-Barre show, where my buddy Rob, he's our Ace guy.
He's the diehard Ace
BC guy. And I we're pretty much Paul guys, but he's the Ace guy, and he has this airbrushed Ace Frehley shirt from the solo album, and we were at M3 the one of the first years of M3, and he was getting pissed at me because we'd be walking around and people go, "Hey, awesome Ace shirt," and I'd go, "That's Tommy Thayer," and it got to a point where he was getting fucking pissed at me for busting his ass like that. And you know what? I honestly have not seen him wear that shirt since, but maybe that's just coincidence. Maybe not. Okay. And so we went down. We met him and his son Ryan. Ryan, he graduated this year from high school. Congratulations! Awesome. You're an awesome guy. Awesome young man. Him and Rob and Ryan met us for dinner before the show. We went down, had a couple beers, went into the show. Rob sat across the aisle from us. Ace came on, played a couple things in the show. Rocket Ride, he slowed down, it was like 3, I don't know if you call it beats or whatever, slower than the rest of the song. And he did the same thing in Snowblind. I know Snowblind slows down to a certain extent, but it was almost like plotting. And then Ace, at one point, he sat down on the drum riser, and we're like, what? Kind of thinking you never see him do that. It's the infamous show where Ace didn't finish the show. He went off. Apparently, he was sick or something like that, and they took him to the hospital, Wilkes-Barre General. So he didn't finish the show, but they handled it very poorly. They didn't come out and say, some girl walked out on the stage and just kind of stood there and looked around and shit, and then she walked back
while Ace
was
playing his last song, or the last song, maybe not the last song scheduled, but she came out. I don't know if it was a personal assistant, but she came out and
kind of stood
another
on the
guy
side
that
and milled around. The other guy that came out was his manager.
But Richie Scarlett, I think, was the guy that told the lady to move back, and it's okay. And
he finished the song out, but he didn't come back out for an encore. I guess they took him right off and right out. And everyone was just kind of standing around looking at each other like, what's going on here? Eventually we realized, the lights came up. Okay, well, I guess, that's it. Like, what the fuck? No one said it. No one literally said anything.
Nobody came out and said, okay, Peter took ill.
Ace.
Thank you for
Ace.
See, all that Peter bash, all that Peter bashing is in my mind now. So, again, sorry, Peter.
Oh, the pitchforks are coming out, man. Their pitchforks are coming out. Yeah, so they didn't say anything, so we just kind of left. And my buddy Rob, he was so fucking pissed. He didn't even stop to talk to us. He made a beeline to his car, and he was in his car
gone.
and fucking gone. We're like, wow, dude, life is not going to end, And we still bust his ass about it, but it was just like weird though. Like all they had to do was come out and say, Ace got sick, we couldn't finish the show. Sorry, goodbye.
He's gone to the hospital. Blah, blah,
I mean,
blah.
that wasn't even mentioned. And we didn't find out until the next day when it was on our local news. Saying former Kiss guitar player Ace Frehley took sick during a show, and whatever. And that's when we found out. Everyone left the theater going like, we were under the impression that like he was blowing off the crowd. You could tell something wasn't right, but you're not thinking someone's getting sick during a show. However, I will say that Ace came around on the next leg of his tour, probably about a year later. What do you think?
Good, almost a year
Probably
later.
about a year later. He played a show in Binghamton, which is probably about an hour north of us. And Rob went to that show. It was, I guess he said it was like in an old supermarket or something like that. Some place that they just kind of cobbled together to put shows on. And he said it was great. He said it was awesome. And then BC and he played at the Sherman Theater in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. Maybe it was like a couple days after that, I think. And we were right in the front row, like right bang, smack ass in the front row. And phenomenal show. Did the whole show. I caught a pic, which for me was really cool.
Came out to the encore.
He came out. He actually finished the show. Great show. Right up front, and his backing band. Something's got to be said for those guys. They're a machine. They had some choices of songs too. They did like Love Gun, and the drummer sang, and I really think that was Ace's like fuck you to Paul. That hey, we all know Paul Stanley's vocal problems at this time. I personally don't care. He's still Paul Stanley. He's the man. I don't give a shit what anybody says. But I think that was Ace's fuck you saying that, hey, listen, my fucking drummer can sing Love Gun better than you could sing Love Gun. I think that was kind of a dig at Paul. It may not be, and it's just my opinion. But I really think that was the deal with that.
And of course, Richie Scarlett, longtime Ace guitarist, some solo albums throughout the years.
Too much heroin, baby. Too much heroin.
Which he might have, maybe it's just a song album cover, but hey, he might have did too much heroin at one time. Richie has been there. He was proved himself to test the time.
Yeah, he's good. He's solid. The only thing I didn't really care for he sang "Too Young to Die." He sang that song's okay, but I think he could have sang something different. I don't really care for that song. He could have, sang maybe one of the Todd Howard songs or something, or even sing one of the Ace songs. Like it would have been cool to see him do like "Into the Night." That would have been like really friggin' cool to see. Cool. So if you had to rank 1 through 4 all the Kiss shows, who would you go? Actually, let me give a shout out right now. The other guy in Ace's band, the bass player Criss Wise, he sang "Strange Ways" into this kick-ass bass solo before. And as you'll learn throughout the podcast, I am not a person for solos. I fucking hate guitar solos. I hate drum solos. The only ones that are cool, like Neil Peart from Rush, and it is pronounced Peart, not Neil Peart. That's another thing. That drives me almost as crazy as quad. It's Peart. His solos are cool because there's other musical elements in there, but pretty much like drum solos, guitar solos kind of are a waste of time. I always think that a band could do another song. Like when we saw Van Halen in 1984, every guy had a fucking solo. Like Eddie Van Halen did a solo that was like half an hour long. Alex Van Halen, they did Hot for Teacher's second, I think, in the set, and he had a drum solo at the end of the second song of the show. Like, really? And Michael Anthony, his is not a solo, it's him jumping on his bass, which, is kind of cool, but
might have been drinking too much Jack Daniels back then, but hey.
That's true, unless it was iced tea in the bottle. There's rumors out there it was iced tea in the Jack Daniels bottles, but you know what, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, the only thing I like about drum and guitar solos is it gives me an opportunity to go take a piss. I'm not going to miss an actual song. So now we got all 4 Kiss guys. Finally, everyone's done solo shit. I will say let's start at the bottom. But we know where that's going to be. So let's start at the top. Okay, what do you got for number 1, BC?
Paul.
You got Paul for number 1. Okay. I will say Paul myself, too, because, well, number 1, Paul's my favorite guy, but like if you listen to that One Last Kiss, he was at the peak of his voice then. And just go back and listen to 1,000,000 on that. Like, oh my God, just like he absolutely fucking crushes it. Phenomenal. And I gotta say, for Paul and the Gene solo stuff, guys, just shut the fuck up in between songs. Play some songs. We don't, if you're at a Gene solo show or an Ace, or if you're at any Kiss solo show, you're pretty much a diehard fan. You know the songs. You know the stories behind the songs. You don't need to drag it out and tell everybody the same shit all the time. And as a matter of fact, this year on the Kiss Cruise, it's not the Electric Sail Away show. It's going to be an acoustic storyteller show, which I'm like totally dreading. I'm sorry, I'm totally dreading it because, and I believe that is Kiss being fucking lazy. I just am like not looking forward to at all. And some of the other bands that are mentioned for the Kiss Cruise, but it's my right as a Kiss fan to bitch because we do.
So I mean, now to admit, first I'm hearing this is that storytellers, but how is Tommy and Eric going to tell the story about the song when they're not the ones that lived the song or wrote the song?
Unless
Tommy
for the love of rock and roll, like Eric tells a song about that, or Tommy tells a song about like when lightning strikes. Okay, well Tommy Thayer is going to say, well, this is the song that they told me to write about lightning. When lightning strikes, or Out of This World. This is the song from Monster that Paul and Gene told me that I have to sing a song about space. So that's how we got this song. It's going to sound like shit acoustic, but this is, one of my 2 songs that I got to sing.
How it came about.
I'm not down with it. It's like I said, it's my right as a Kiss fan to bitch. Believe me, I'm paying thousands of dollars for me and my wife to go there. I'm voicing my fucking opinion. I digress. We got Paul #1 slot for both of us. What do you got next?
Ace.
You got Ace next. Okay. Any particular thing? Or are we talking just overall? Are we talking just this last round of shows?
It's a combination of overall and back in 1983, I believe it was.
Okay.
When he first came out, I just thought came out and he...
That was great. That was a great show. And
that's before a lot
rumor has it, which I'm sure is probably true. They said Ace was like totally fucking hammered for that show, which I could believe that. It was before the first Fraley's Comet album came out, because I have a bootleg from that show, and there's still one song on there that I have no idea what it's called. I have no idea what it's called.
Either does he. So
yeah. So if anybody out there has a bootleg from that, West Side Theater in Scranton, I believe it's 1983. If you have that and you know the full set list, send it to our page. You can find us on Facebook at Potter Than Hell on Facebook.com. You can find us on Twitter, YouTube. So, let us know what you guys think. What's your favorite thing? So here it is. I won't say it's the tipping point. I know where it's going to go. My next pick, I'm going to go Gene ahead of Ace. On the weight of Got Love for Sale alone. Okay? That and Sweet and Dirty Love. All right? I'm going to go with that alone because, like I said, that is like... I've been dying forever to hear Got Love for Sale. Apparently, word has it that they played that song at the beginning of the Love Gun tour once or twice, but it can't be proved or disproved. But that's the rumor that's out there. So I'm going to predict your number 3 pick is going to be Gene. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct, Steve.
Correct. Okay.
And again, nothing against Peter, but I never saw Peter live, and I don't want to see Peter live.
I could definitely agree with that. And so you went Paul,
Ace, and Gene.
Yeah, we could even. Has any of us seen Vinnie Vincent live? We didn't really talk about Vinnie Vincent much. So that's a whole big saga. But neither one of us has ever seen Vinnie Vincent Invasion live, so
no.
let's not throw him into the mix at this point. But Vinnie, you're going to be open season on some episode here, and I think we're going to bring my buddy BB, aka Ryan Bannon, in because he's a big Vinnie Vincent guy.
Get ready, Vinnie.
He's a Vinnie fan, but we're only doing the original 4 right now. Okay. So BC's got Paul, then he's got Ace, and then I'm going to assume Gene, then Peter. So my third is going to be Ace. Only because, number 1, it's going to piss off Rob. And number 2, I love Ace. I love his music and stuff, but I think he's a goof. I love you, Ace, but, like, even now that he's, in quotations sober, I mean, I swear to God, I hope he is. Love Ace, love his music and stuff like that. But like, listen to an interview, he sounds like a dope. And it seems when you see any picture, like most pictures from his meet and greets, like he won't even stand up for pictures with the people. He's like sitting down at a table, and you have to go behind the table. You get the thumbs up, ack. He seems goofy to me. I mean, I love him. His playing is great. He's playing great.
If you partied as hard as Ace did back in the day, you'd be goofy too.
That's true. If I partied that hard back in the day, ack would be the only thing I would be able to say. Ack.
And quart.
Yeah, quart. Give me a quart of ack. So. I'm sorry, Ace. Ace and Peter, man, they're fans. The green Kool-Aid and the blue Kool-Aid drinkers, they're going to be having an attack right in our town here. They're going to have a marshalling area down at our high school, and they're just going to spread out. One half is going to attack BC's house, the other half is going to attack my house. So we got those guys out of the way. Everyone did it. We're leaving Vinny alone for now, and we could even we could do hours on Vinny Vincent and Slaughter and where that came from and where it went to and everything like that. And one of the other podcasts, Three Sides of the Coin, their question is to ask everybody, did Vinny Vincent save Kiss?
I don't know about that, but
I personally think that MTV saved Kiss. I really think MTV saved Kiss. They were headed in a downward spiral. They did the unmasking on MTV, and then they started playing their videos. They did Lick It Up, and they had that, and they had All Hell's Breaking Loose, and then Heaven's on Fire after that, which is kind of weird because like they're two of their biggest songs from the 80s, Heaven's on Fire and Lick It Up, neither one of them have a guitar solo in it. But like when Kiss used to do Lick It Up live in the 80s, they did a solo like at the end, like Vinny Vincent playing it. Tore it up. And now they do that Who thing in the middle of it, Won't Get Fooled Again, which is kind of stupid. But apparently they didn't do that in Europe when they just played their tour now. We got the Kiss solo shit out of the way, solo tours, 8 shows. So we're going to switch gears a little bit here, just briefly at the end. We have a segment that is going to be called Hidden Gems. Weekly, we're going to have a hidden gem that each of us is going to name. When we have guests on, we're going to put them on the spot, and they're going to have to name one off the top of their head. I'll probably give them a heads up before we record so they can kind of be prepared. It could be a band. It could be a song. I'm going to start out with a song tonight, but I will let BC go first. Your hidden gem tonight, BC.
Hidden gem would be a band. Back in 1988, they came out with one album. That was it. A band called Roxanne. Came out with one album.
Wow.
And then it was just...
digging deep.
It was just, bam, they were gone. Don't know exactly what happened, if they fell apart or...
One of many bands that I'm sure...
music scene just
had one
got
shot.
Saturated with that kind of music. I don't know what it was, but...
Yeah, and I think a lot of good bands really kind of got shafted, and everyone's blaming grunge and all that shit. That stuff is just depressing. I hate that shit. It's just crazy.
They were signing everybody and their brother at that time.
Oh, yeah.
You had to look, you could play a guitar solo, you were getting signed, and it just got too much. It
got watered down. Got
watered down and just too much, and guess what? Too much of anything is bad.
Like Harpo would say, too much is just enough, but then too much is too much.
Not in this situation, but if you ever get a chance, check out Roxanne. That's the name of the album, if you can even find it.
If you can find it.
I have it on cassette and vinyl.
Oh, see that? Here comes the vinyl back up again. My hidden gem of the week is going to be a song. And it's a very, very well-known band. And all my close friends, I tell everybody about this song. It's unbelievable. It's a Def Leppard song, and it's from the album Slang. And it's called Gift of Flesh. And when Def Leppard did Slang, it was the first album since Rick Allen lost his arm that they used acoustic drums on a recording. They didn't use the electronic drums. I'm not really sure how it worked, but they did use acoustic drums on this album, and the song is called Gift of Flesh, and it rocks. I remember when I picked up that album, and I had it on in my house. There was no one home at the time. I had it cranked up, and the album was playing, and I went into the kitchen, and I mean, the album's okay. It's not great. There's some good songs on there. And I went in the kitchen for something, And then I hear this riff. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I go in the other room, and the song is just like slamming. Like if I put that on and said, guess which band this is, you probably would not guess that it was Def Leppard, even once you start to hear him sing. I mean, especially before you start to hear him sing. You would never in a million years think that it's Def Leppard. Hard rock. I'm not going to say it's a metal song. It's not a metal song. It is a hard rock song. It's probably the hardest rock song that Def Leppard had done to that time before High and Dry. It's way harder than anything since High and Dry. It's in the reins of like Rock Till You Drop or something like that. But the riff is great, the sound is great, and it sounds so un-Def Leppard-like at that time because it wasn't the electronic drums and everything. So that's my hidden gem for the week. You guys have a hidden gem out there. Let us know. Subscribe to us. Check us out on Facebook, Potter Than Hell. We even have a Twitter account, potterthanhell@twitter.com. YouTube. We will be on YouTube. We will be on iTunes. When you get to iTunes, check us out. You'll see our logo. Hit subscribe. That way you'll know when our shows are coming out. We hope to have this show out every week. Like I said, we are Potter Than Hell podcasts. My name is Steve Wright. My co-host is BC. Our producer is Dylan Wright, who is diligently putting up with our nonsense tonight and having a couple laughs over there. So we're going to sign off for this week. So like I said, subscribe to us, check us out, and everybody have a good rockin' week and have a good one.
Bye.